I want you guys to understand one thing first, making calls. I'm going to cover something that's a little kind of side note that's important. But awareness creates transformation, and transformation is the ultimate outcome, right? Awareness creates transformation. What does that mean?
Hey, this is Blake Sloan. I've been selling real estate over 14 years. Our team of highly trained professionals, along with our unmatched marketing, has sold thousands of homes here in the Myrtle Beach area, and this is how we do it.
You first have to notice the problem.
Yes, I got to want to be aware of it. Most salespeople aren't good because they're not aware of it. They're just going through mindlessly, right? Just back to that same example from the plumbing people. They're not aware of how their follow-up is. Rather, it's calling mindlessly, goes on to the next lead, and they're paying Home Depot for a ton of leads, and they could have just followed up a little better and gotten the deal, right? So it's important to understand that that's the key part here. Awareness creates transformation. Transformation is the outcome that we desire. But here's what I want you guys to understand. We're talking about telephone, something I've been studying a lot. You have 2 or 3 seconds to grab someone's attention and have them want to stay on the phone with you. 2 to 3 seconds. So when you call that initial call, you have 2 to 3 seconds. We all know that, but this is a great reminder for us to understand that in that scenario, right? So what's the most important part for me doing that? Tonality. How do I fix that? A big smile on your face every single call. Why? It translates to the phone when you have a big smile on your face, right? It's important. Now, if I'm having a bad day and got deals blowing up, guess what I still got to do? Have a big-ass smile and find that smile so they can feel my tonality, my energy coming through. And I'm going to explain why this is important in a second overall, right? So when I call, I'm going to call back overall, whoever it is. Hey, Blake over at Sloan Group, just giving you a call just like I said I would. I want you guys to write that down. That's a follow-up. That's super important. So these are nurtures in your bucket, both a seller or a buyer, right? So I'd say, hey, Blake over at Sloan Group, just giving you a call back just like I said I would. I was thinking about you today, see if you still want to get your house sold. What that does is it anchors in that I do what? I honor my word. And most agents don't do what? Keep their word, right? Their biggest fear about you as a real estate agent is what? You don't keep your word. And so subconsciously what that script and that word track does, it anchors in that you do what you say you would. Now, on the previous call, guess what I tell them?
I'm going to follow up with
Yep. Hey, I know you're not ready yet. Paige, no, you're not ready yet to get your house sold, but you know what I'm going to do? I'm not going to ever let you slip through the cracks. I'm going to give you a call back in a week or two if that's okay and make sure everything's still going good. Right? And then the next call, now I'm not really calling just to sell them something. What am I doing? Calling back because I said I would. So it's very important. Back to what Alex said. When you guys are making these calls, I need you to make sure you record yourself on the outside so you can listen on how good or how bad you sound on it. Specifically the first 2 to 3 seconds. Most of you guys are getting no's. The reason you're getting no's is your tonality. Your energy's not great. Your tonality's not great. So what's happening is subconsciously they're mirroring you or they're just scared you think you're a salesperson. It's very important. So here's, you have to be excited to talk to them, which is very important. Now, if you're excited to talk to them and you have something that's exciting, are the chances more or less they're going to hang up on you? Less, right? And these are warm leads who came to us. We're not cold calling. It's very important, to have that reminder to yourself, which is very important to do that, right? The question I want you to ask yourself here is, can they feel you? And this is a question I want you to ask yourself when you're listening to that recording is, can they feel you, your excitement, your energy, and can they feel that big-ass smile on your face when you're making that phone call, which is very, very important to make sure that we're doing. So the other part here that I want you guys to make sure you have this energy is be grateful. Super important. Be grateful about whatever it is you have in your life. Obviously, you want to be grateful you got leads call, people to reach out to. I was on this coaching thing this week, and they were talking about how to do open houses. And mostly these are small independent agents on there. But when they do an open house, they usually borrow somebody's listing, and guess what they do after that? They're getting 20, 30 times. I got a couple things I can add to it. Well, then they're taking it, they're going to get the entire neighborhood, and guess what they're doing? Circle prospecting the whole neighborhood, so they get 150 to 200 neighbors, and guess what they do? Cold call the neighbors to tell them they got an open house, right? Which is okay. Then guess what they do? Door knock the neighborhood to let them know they got an open house. Then they voice broadcast them. Then they do a lot of other stuff, and then they do the open house, right? Guess what?
They don't do all
You don't got to do all that. You guys just have lots of leads to call. So it's a great thing to be grateful for. Imagine cold calling 200 people in a neighborhood just to let you know have open house. That could work and it sells some stuff, but that's pretty brutal, right? We have warm leads that want to buy something that came to your website, put a name, phone number, email in there. We have a great thing to be grateful for and follow them back up. I was just listening like, man, that sounds terrible, right? And there's agents that are doing that all day and they're begging to do it, which is just unbelievable to look at over on that. So I want you guys to write these 4 things down. Super important. Number 1, when you make every single call checklist, number 1, smile. This is just a side note, but second thing, be energetic. It's going to uptick your conversion massively in what you're doing. What maybe want to cover this, I was watching some of the Thursday Vital numbers. Some of you guys are making lots of dials, very low contact rate, right? Some are making lots of dials, high contact, low conversion. There's a difference. You got to look at these numbers we're going on Thursday, but a lot of these are you issue, right? So now if I'm making triple the dials as anybody else, but I'm getting 1/3 the amount of people answering, that's my problem. That's a problem with me. Either my dialer, or I need to go back to manual, or whatever it is. Some people are getting lots of answers, but very low conversion. And so it's important for you to know your numbers so I can help you guys in that on Thursday. But I've been really watching that, and that's why I want to teach on this today. I feel like we're missing some stuff based on the numbers being so out of line with certain people. Does that make sense? Like some are really high, some are really low. And I want to go back. This is super simple to make sure that, hey, look, I just, number 1, smile every single call. It's a checklist. Boom. All right, smile before I call. Right. Number 2, be energetic. What if you say, hey, look, I'm not energetic? Yeah, fake it. You got to create it, right? If you're not energetic, the question you ask yourself, hey, do I like being broke? Because if you don't and you're not, you're going to stay broke, right? Just part of sales. It's how psychology works in that scenario. Number 3, we talked about be grateful. Hey, thank God I'm not having to call a whole neighborhood right now to get 1 lead, right? They're right in front of me and I can reach out and I can convert them overall. And here's the cool part I want you to take. This is kind of what a big way to look at. I want you to be the most optimistic person they talk to that day. Why? They're going to remember that. What if they're a dick? So what? I'm going to be the most optimistic person they talk to that day. Number 5, I want you to do. I want you to be the most happy person they talk to, what? That day. Why? Because your conversion is going to go up significantly. They're going to remember you. And here's the deal. You may not get them on the first call, but guess what's going to happen the second time? They're most likely to remember you, and you're going to have a much higher chance of converting them with that scenario. Right? Here's why. The energy is attracting, is compelling. So I don't want somebody who's happy and energetic or somebody who's low energy and not happy. Right? It's just how it is overall in that scenario, right? It's an attractive character in that scenario. Well, what if I'm not that person? Stop arguing for your limitations. Right? Stop arguing for your limitations. A lot of people say, well, I'm not that way. Well, that's the key part. Is the cool thing is you can be this way and you can put that on. Does that make sense? We all talk about, and I've done multiple trainings on this, that attractive character is something that people love to want to work with. And one of the biggest things that separates great salespeople in here and not great is charisma. And part of having charisma, right, is created from within. See, these things right here create charisma. Will you guys agree? Right? This is what people like. They want somebody who smiles. They want somebody who's energetic. They want somebody who's grateful. Right? The most optimistic person that they talk to that day, and the happiest person they talk to that day. Well, if they're a dick, guess what? Hey, look, just got my call done. Go right back to the next one. It's very, very important. But just know you have 2 to 3 seconds to grab me and stay on board, which is super important to remember there. Right? Now, how do I work on this? Role play. But I'm teaching this today for one reason. I want you guys to write the checklist and put it on your monitor. Right? Number 1, smile. Right? Number 2, be energetic. 3, be grateful. 4, most optimistic person they talk to that day. And number 5, I want to be the happiest person they talk to that day. Now, would everybody agree if you did this every single call, your conversion will go up? The problem is we get into the rut, we get into the grind, and what happens? Our energy goes down, our confidence goes down, and so, hey, look, sometimes maybe you stand up. right? Sometimes you may need to do something to get you going to make sure you feel that way. I'm talking about I do push-ups and all kind of stuff to get going, but whatever it is to get myself energetically, right, overall in that scenario, and cause it their state to get you where you want to be in that scenario, right? But here's the deal. Make sure that you understand, look, this is my job, and I'll make sure I do it, and I have 2 or 3 seconds. This is a quick intro. This is nothing high level, but it's just a great reminder, and I feel sometimes that we're getting a little bit flat. And I'm going to teach you guys on this on Thursday. The same thing with our seller calls. I hear this on the seller calls, listen to the recordings on our 2nd, 3rd, 4th calls. Joe's really good about this, but just some of our, agent follow-up calls, you want to make sure, hey, look, boom, smile, super energetic. Why? Because we're very competitive against other people, and we're not necessarily getting them on the first call. And I mean like as a client, right? They may say yes to you, but that doesn't mean you have them as a client yet. You with me on that? And so if I'm making these calls and I'm smiling, I'm energetic, I'm grateful, I'm very optimistic in how I talk about the market, it's how I talk what's going on, and I'm happy to them, they're going to remember me, and guess what they're going to do? What do you think? They're going to like me. Right? So I have that likable person on the phone, and it anchors in. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to send them a text message, and I'm going to send them an email about the phone call to anchor in their subconscious who I am, so they remember me next time. That's what will help increase conversion. The science of just really persuasion. Does that make sense, you guys? Super, super simple there.